alongside him is Mark Davis, and then the second row was John Robinson and Richard Barnes. Third row, Simon Gates in fifth, and Chris Bloomfield in sixth place. Savage is going to be first of the third of the vet opens. So Richard Rice, Richard Barnes and Darren Savage all on the opens. Mark Evans is in 8th, Barry Prue and Andy Williams in 9th and 10th. Pete Forsyth and Paul Ward make up row 6. James Adams and Simon Woodward who are 13th and 14th. James Adams, who is another of the vet open racers. Neil Turner and Dave Smith behind him, and Mark Gregory and Gary Carter. And away they go, and a bit of a jump from the guy who was starting in second place as they make their way round, but he's, I think, got into the lead.
It's Mark Davies in the lead.
Mark Davies, Josh Robinson.
John Robinson, sorry.
He's ahead of John Robinson, and then Richard Rice is third, ahead of Richard Barnes. They go up towards the back straight, so Mrs. Liddell, and then once they come from this section, onto the back straight. So Mark Davis leading John Robinson. And there they go onto the back straight.
That was a good move by Mark going down into that last corner. I think he was going to try and get underneath both of them. That was a good move underneath Chris.
So Mark Evans has made up a few places from the start. So the top three are Mark Davis, John Robinson, and then Richard Rice on the vet opens in third. And then the battle behind that, Simon Gates in fourth, Mark Evans fifth, Chris Blofeld sixth, Blofeld, and then Darren Savage in seventh in another of the vet opens. Those were four on screen. So in the middle is number 79, that's Chris Blofeld, and behind him is Darren Savage. So they come across the line at the end of the second lap, and it's Mark Davis ahead of John Robinson, Richard Rice still third. Mark Evans has moved up past Simon Gates, and then Chris Blofeld stays ahead of Darren Savage. Those are the top 7. 8th is Barry Prue, 9th Andy Williams, 10th James Adams is the third of the vet opens, he's in 14th. Then Richard Barnes is last. And on screen.
So I can see that Marcus Evans is really catching up to Richard. Just coming around the fast right of the circuit towards the long straight.
That's third. So there we are on screen. It's number 6 Mark Davis out in front ahead of John Robinson. They cross the line, and Richard Rice in third has just set a new fastest lap of the race at 52.5. He's 9/10 of a second behind John Robinson, who is himself a second behind Mark Davis. Paul Ward has just got past Neil Turner on that lap. He's now into 12th place. So on your screen, that's number 79, Chris Blofeld. In front of him is Simon Gates. And then Darren Savage as they make their way around the back of the track.
Chris actually came across from a scooter.
I assume not the ones with 2 wheels, but like kids' scooters, not like that.
No,
like little
no,
kind
no.
of moped scooters.
Like little moped scooters, like little two-stroke scooters. You would like race around Donington Park, but he's come across from scooters to pit bar race, and he loves it, absolutely loves it.
So that's Simon Gates on screen ahead of Chris Blofeld and then Darren Savage. This is one of the closest battles at the moment. About 3/10 between Gates and Blofeld for 5th and 6th. And Darren Savage ready to pounce if either of them make a mistake.
Just at a camera shot, I can see Richard Rice is right on the back of John Robinson now. He just had a quick look down the inside, going down to the fast right-hander. We're off the... And coming to complex, he's going to have a look down the inside. No, he's not close enough, but I think obviously John's on a stop bike and Rice is on a big Daytona 190, so you can use that grunt.
Here they are on
down
the
the
screen
straight.
now. And we're onto the back straight, and John Robinson having looked behind him, but Richard Rice easily makes it past with his more powerful bike. So he's now up into second, is Richard Rice. And behind them, Simon Gates still 3 or 4 attempts ahead of Chris Blowfield, and they're making their way a bit away from Darren Savage in 7th. One of the close battles is for 9th and 10th actually, between Andy Williams and Pete Forsyth.
Yeah, it's Pete's first season again this year, so it's great to see him out there. He's a really experienced rider. He came down to some high bike track days with us over the winter. He just loved it. Just kind of took to it like a duck to water, really. And it's great to see him out there battling with these veterans, which experienced riders.
So with the vet opens, just to remind you, Richard Rice in second is the lead of that class, and then Darren Savage in 7th, second in class. James Adams is in 14th and he's third in the vet opens, and then Richard Barnes, who's a lap down, is the 4th and final of the vet open races. So out in front, Mark Davis leads from Richard Rice, then John Robinson, Mark Evans is 4th, Simon Gates 5th, Chris Blowfield in 6th place, Savage 7th, Barry Prue in 8th, and then Andy Williams 9th, and Pete Forsyth rounding out the top 10.
And that last lap by Richard Rice with the fast lap race at 51.9.
And he is catching up to Mark Davis in front. Mark Davis having a look behind and already taking quite a defensive line, but he moves back out. So as we're going to come up and cross the line shortly, and it's very close on the last lap. And he's looking to have a move on the inside, but not quite close enough is Richard Rice. So Mark Davis still just about keeping ahead. And do you think Richard Rice will be looking to make a move on the final straight, the back straight before the last corner?
No, he seems to have either made a mistake going to that complex, but he just backed off a little bit there. But don't forget that Mark's on a stock 140 bike there. And obviously Rice is on a Daytona, so he's probably just going to bide his time, wait till he gets on the straight and drive past him. Obviously they score points in different classes, so they don't want to get too much in each other's way.
Here they go, coming up now towards the back straight. And Mark Davis gets a good getaway, and he's checking behind him and taking a quite defensive line, but Richard Rice is looking up the inside and not quite close enough. And as they come up across the line, and I think Richard Rice has actually got past him. Incredible. From the angle it didn't look like he had, but Richard Rice wins the race. Mark Davis still wins the class. But Richard Rice, brilliant effort to get past him, with 2 of them having a handshake and a thumbs up, so it's good to see the spirit that they are all on the grid now. The green flag goes up. And away they go. And Richard Rice, they get both good starts. Richard Rice out in front of Mark Davis, just about manages to get past him, and then I think it's Robinson in 3rd, ahead of Richard Barnes and Simon Gates. Rice in the vet open bikes in a separate class. So it is Richard Rice still leading ahead of Mark Davis as they make their way round that section. Mark Davis trying to go up the inside, but not quite got the drive to make it stick.
That's Mark Evans just going down the inside of Chris Blowfield out of that complex, down to that fast right hand of the hill.
That's the battle for 6th position.
Behind Chris now, you've got Darren Savage and Andy Williams. Darren's on the pit bike, an open pit bike, so I think that's a 164cc 4-valve head on that bike.
So as they go across the line, it's Richard Rice ahead of Mark Davis, John Robinson in 3rd, Richard Barnes is 4th, followed by Mark Evans. He gets past Chris Blowfield, who's in 6th, and then Darren Savage is 7th, ahead of Simon Gates in 8th. He's lost 3 positions from where he was earlier. Then Andy Williams 9th, and Pete Forsyth rounding out the top 10.
It looks like, oh, that was a big moment there for Mark.
He got very close to the...
His back end just stepped out on him. It looks like John's come off the pace as well. He just seems to have dropped off a little bit, and that's Mark Evans going through.
Richard
Barnes, thanks a lot for that. I was trying to look at the timing screen. And Mark Evans is just coming to the back of John Robinson now.
And that's Mark Gregory, and he looks like his race might be over. So out of front, Richard Rice in the Bet Opens leading with Mark Davies, followed by John Robinson. Then Mark Evans is in fourth. He got past Richard Barnes on that lap. Richard Barnes, another of the Bet Open racers, along with Darren Savage, James Adams, in their own separate class. So there's the leaders, Richard Rice and Mark Davies. Mark Davies rises on his tail as they come onto the back straight. But Richard Rice has so much more speed.
Yeah, it's a lot more grunt, and you saw John as well. He had a big look over his shoulder at Mark there. But Mark seems to have gone... Has he gone under him? No, he hasn't caught him. Yeah, John had a big look there down the straight, took a bit of a defensive line coming to that final hairpin. And looking at Mark out the window now, Mark Davies, you can see so much quicker through the twisties than Richard Rice, but Rice has just got that grunt on the open bike to go down the straight a bit quicker.
And Mark Evans has just set a new fastest lap of 52.3. He's in fourth position, hunting down John Robinson in third. So it looks like Mark Gregory did get going again, and he's just in front of the field. So there's Richard Rice making his way through, and Mark Davis as well gets through no problem.
John had another big look down the inside there at Mark Evans, but it looks like Mark has got past him. Yeah, he's got past him into that complex. The back marker just held up John on the exit to that corner and gave Mark Evans a chance to get past.
That last lap, we're all about a second and a half second slower than the previous lap, with the exception of Richard Rice out in front, who's starting to build a bit of a gap.
I've seen Mark Davies racing in three classes today. He must be absolutely shattered.
So Mark Evans has closed up on the front too. He's all over the back of Mark Davies.
Mark Davies is so much quicker than anyone else going through that section off the start and finish straight. He just managed to gap Mark Evans by at least about 3 or 4 bike lengths, and he's right back on the tail of Ricey now.
Ricey, who's being cheered on by Dean Dewey, who's not in this race, but they're watching and commenting on Facebook. He's right on the back of him, isn't he? He's very close, but then as they get onto the back straight, he's just not got the speed to keep up with him.
Mark Evans is right on the back of Mark. Oh, that was a bit of a weave. That was so close. Mark Evans managed to get that on the inside of him, going to that first complex. But so as I said, Mark Davies is so much quicker through that complex. So the next lap, we'll see how I get on with that.
So bike number 29, on your screen it says 161 is in second position, that's Mark Evans, but he's actually bike number 29, and he's in second place, right behind Richard Rice now. Trying to get up close to him for the lead, so on the back straight, let's see, he's trying to pull a bit to the inside, and then he has a look down the outside. He's not got the pace in the straight line that Richard Rice has.
Again, Rice, you just have that extra bit of grunt coming out that corner.
It's the final lap now, and Richard Rice leads ahead of Mark Evans, and then Mark Davis is third. And in fourth position is John Robinson, who's very close to him. Richard Barnes is fifth, but he's in the Bet Opens, so he's second in his class behind Richard Rice. In the Bet Open, Savage in eighth place is the third rider, and then James Adams is fourth. the rest of riders in the normal best category.
Oh, that was a bit look down the inside. What there is a bit look down the inside of Mark Evans. He's going to have I don't think he's going to be close enough down the straight.
Coming up towards the final corner, they're all checking to see where they are. Richard Rice side ahead of Mark Evans, and then Mark Davies is third behind him. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're going to cross line in that order. So Richard Rice takes the checkered flag ahead of Mark Evans, and then Mark Davies as well, and John Robinson. Richard Barnes crosses the line in 5th. Simon Gates takes 6th position. Chris Blowfield is 7th. That was a very close race for these 3 drivers, all within a second of each other.
Another cracking race in the veterans class. Absolutely fantastic.